Rightio team, this is the Harley-Davidson X350 and you can do better. Right, so with that out the way, this is Harley-Davidson's cheapest bike on the market. It is the $9,500 X350. It's a 350cc parallel twin, not a V-twin like Harleys are meant to be, but that's the least of its worries. So when it came to choosing a review bike from Harley, I had the option of both of the new X models. There is this, and there is the X500. The X500 is based off the Benelli Leoncino. It's priced $2,000 more at nearly $12,000. The Benelli is under 10. This is based on a bike we don't get in New Zealand, the Benelli 350 or the QJ 350S, and it is priced at $9,500. Frankly, in this market, in the sub 400cc category, you can do better. And for the money, you definitely can do better. So let's go over the finer points of this motorcycle and why I've come to that conclusion, because honestly, I don't usually do negative slanted reviews, but this motorcycle's disappointed me so badly that I feel it's my duty to be open and honest, because frankly, if I'm not telling you how it is, how I see it, then what's the point of me doing a review? So let's start off with the good points, because there are a few good points about this bike, as with any motorcycle. So for starters, you have adjustable levers. So not only do you have adjustable brake and clutch levers, which are a really nice touch on any learner bike, and it's something that if you're looking for a learner bike, I'd say, especially if you have stubby fingers, definitely look for. You've also got adjustable foot levers. So you've got a little Allen key here, and you can swivel the toe point there around a 360-degree axis to get the positioning perfect for your foot, which I think is a really good idea, and I'm surprised I've never seen it on any other motorcycle, to be frank. So kudos there. Another cool point, the styling. This thing looks awesome. It's a 350cc motorcycle, but it looks so damn cool. So the styling, Harley says, is based off their flat track race bikes. It's in a similar vein to the Sportster S. You've got sort of a long, low, sort of just a line that goes straight across. It looks kind of fast, which, hey, if you're in a learner bike, that's kind of what you're after, isn't it? You've got LED lights all around, so no light bulbs to be worrying about, which, when I think back to my learner experience, I was always losing brake lights and was never aware until it came to warrant time. And yeah, that's about it, really. So it kills me to say this, but this motorcycle is not very good, especially when you look at its price points. So its main competitor here, I would say, is the Yamaha R3, which has been around for years, and if you're looking at them and taking them on aesthetic value only, you'd be going with this one, because someone at Yamaha who designs the MTs has no eyeballs, clearly, because the MTs look hideous. But $1,000 cheaper out the door for the Yamaha. Very similar spec, slightly smaller engine, but similar power, similar braking, and all that, but more features. So features this bike does have, obviously LED lights, you've got adjustable front suspension and rear with preload, adjustable levers, like I said, and yeah, that's basically it. So let's get into the things that I'm getting a bit critical about, because like I said, this bike's disappointed me, and for its price point in this market, which is incredibly hot right now, Harley's asking too much for this bike. If it was $1,500 less, I could forgive it for some of these critiques I'm about to make, but again, out the door, this thing is knocking on the door of $10,000. So let's start off with the riding position. So I'm 175, 176 centimeters on a good day, and I find this bike quite small and cramped. So obviously Harley designed this for the Asian market, not for Western markets predominantly. Reason it's in New Zealand is because we have the learner approved motorcycle scheme, and that means if you don't have a foot in that learner market, sub 660cc's, you may as well not play, because that is the biggest market in terms of volume in the country. Get your riders in early, get them caught on your brand, and the idea is they will come and buy your next motorcycle and their next motorcycle from you. So that's why Harley has brought these to market, and yeah, you can see it's sort of designed for an Asian market. It is quite compact feeling, and after about an hour and a half, I rode it up the Waikato Expressway all the way to Auckland. It's about an hour and a half ride, and at the end of it, my knees were aching, and I was finding I needed to stretch because it's just a bit tight for me, is the way I find it. So you can take that with butt comfort as well. I didn't find it particularly comfortable on a long ride either, but them's the brakes. Everyone has a different reaction to seat comfort. I personally didn't find it very comfy. So another critical point of this is its dashboard, which is where I find it really falls flat. So to start off with, it's a very basic dash unit. So Harley have given you an analog speedo with an LCD insert, like a lot of their old school bikes. I get the thinking there, they're wanting to go old school, back to basics, but this is a learner approved motorcycle, and a learner motorcycle really needs something important like a fuel gauge, and I find it reprehensible that Harley-Davidson has not included a fuel gauge on this motorcycle. Worse still, when you take this over 120 kilometers indicated on the speedometer, the fuel light comes on, even when you have a completely full fuel tank, which I found out on my very first ride with this. I brimmed the tank, and for 28 kilometers in a row, the fuel light stayed on with a brand new full tank of gas. I say indicated as well because the speedo is out 10%, which, yes, most vehicles indicate speed faster than you're going, but to be 10% out means that at an indicated 100 kilometers an hour, you're doing 90. At an indicated 120, you're doing 108. The Waikato Expressway has a speed limit of 110. So sitting there on an indicated 110, I had vehicles of all shapes and sizes flying right past me, and with the fuel light going on, I wasn't sure what blimmin' speed I was doing. So yeah, the dash, Harley really shat the bed there. I'm sorry, but it's not good. And all the rest of the bikes in class have far more detail that is useful for learner riders on their dashboards than Harley is included. So that is nasty critique number one. Sorry Harley, but that's just how the bike is, how it's been presented to me. Critique number two is vibration. So yes, it's a small capacity engine, but I found this engine more vibey than the singles I've been riding lately. So let's put it this way. Rev this out to its maximum red line, which is 11,300 RPM when the rev limiter kicks in, and those foot pegs from about 9,000 RPM are just unbearably buzzy. So it's a buzzy little engine. It's kind of gotten a bit better as the Ks have increased. This has been a test bike. It is yet to have its first service, so I've got to give it some leeway with that. But yeah, it's a really buzzy little engine. The mirrors, as a result, get quite buzzy as well. But you could possibly put some bar ends off from AliExpress or something. I say AliExpress because Harley in their infinite wisdom have included 0 accessories for this motorcycle, where the rest of their range gets the massive big book of Harley. So it's like they're setting this bike up to fail, because when you buy a Harley-Davidson, one of the things you want to do is you want to modify that bike. You want to personalize it, you want to make it your own, and you're just not getting the opportunity with these. So yeah, that's critique number two. Critique number three is one, again, it has been getting slightly better as the Ks have increased, but I find the brakes are wooden. So you've got these big, beautiful twin discs up front with twin piston calipers, but swinging a leg on it, grabbing the lever, it feels like you're grabbing a block of wood. So you've got these powerful brakes. Again, I say they have been improving as time has gone by, but just the feeling at the lever is really not great, and I don't think it is well suited to learner motorcyclists who are trying to get finesse and trying to build their experience up. You want a brake that you can sort of predict and you can really get a feel for what's going on there, and I just don't get that vibe with this bike. Again, it has been feeling a bit better as it has gotten on, but it still feels wooden. Lastly, the bike's build quality is just cheap. So I pointed out earlier before, there's gaps on the switchgear where it doesn't line up perfectly. The switchgear itself, very clicky. Yeah, you can feel what's going on, but it's not particularly nice. And just the build quality in general, like everything just pops off. And as I was taking my lovely photos, I found this on the road, in the middle of the road where I had the motorcycle parked. This is the bung that goes in the frame next to the gear shifter, and it had fallen out and was sitting in the middle of the road. So yeah, when it comes to build quality, it's a big fat fail, I'm sorry, Harley. Like, yes, it's a quality motorcycle in terms of the fact that it hasn't left me stranded anywhere, but it has enough issues to make me feel like this is not a bike I could be recommending to learner riders, especially at its price point. So again, it's $9,500 this bike. If you're really dead set on a Harley, for that money you can get yourself a Street 500, which Harley actually lets you accessorize. You can make it fit yourself. It has a V-twin engine, and it's a real Harley-Davidson. This is, for lack of a better word, a poorly done badge engineering job. And in this market, you can do better, and I know Harley-Davidson can do better. I know you're trying to hit a price point, but you've priced this too high. Take the Harley tax away, and maybe people will pay attention to it. So, on that rather down note, yeah, if you're looking for a 350 sub 400, sub 500cc motorcycle, give this a go and you'll see what I mean. Test it back to back with the rest of the bikes on the market in the class. Yamaha's MT-03 or R3, the new Triumph 400s, the Royal Enfield 350s and new Himalayan, and you'll just see that this bike is overpriced for what it is. So if Harley took $2,000 off the price, we could probably forgive some of its flaws, but at its current price point, I cannot recommend this motorcycle to new motorcyclists. And on that really hard to say bombshell, I'm probably never going to be given a Harley again. So it's been fun, but Harley does make good motorcycles. The new touring bikes are phenomenal, but they just seem to have a bit of a problem with small capacity bikes. They've never seemed to really crack the code as to what makes a good learner small capacity motorcycle, and hopefully that changes in the near future, because as everyone's been saying for the last decade, Harley's owners are dying off. They need new blood. They need motorcycles in this class, but they need to do better than this. So yeah.